One left-wing website recently denounced the Trump administration for protecting religious freedom. But who they're really blaming is Chuck Colson. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. In early May, HHS announced new rules to ensure that healthcare professionals would not feel compelled to leave the practice of medicine because they declined to participate in actions that violate their conscience, actions such as abortion, sterilization, or assisted suicide. Well, not surprisingly, the new rule was immediately challenged in federal court by groups alleging, among other things, that the new rule, quote, advances specific religious beliefs in violation of the First Amendment, that it violates patients' right to privacy, liberty, and equal dignity as guaranteed by the Fifth Amendment, and chills patient speech and expression in violation of the First Amendment, all to the detriment of patients' health and well-being. Well, other left-wing websites, such as Salon, also joined the chorus of outrage. Progressives fight back against religious rights' grotesque religious freedom power play, one of the headlines proclaimed. In addition to the strange use of the word grotesque there, the headline put religious freedom in scare quotes, and the article went on to claim that the new rule has, quote, nothing to do with genuine freedom to adhere to one's religious beliefs. No, instead, religious freedom, it claimed, is a power play to invent what they call an imaginary right to discriminate. I think a better use of the word imaginary would be repeated references to the Handmaid's Tale that we've been forced to endure the last 2 years. Salon's rhetoric is nothing new, but I was surprised by Salon's claim that our nation's new theocratic direction, as they put it, has its origin in, of all things, the Manhattan Declaration. Theocratic? Well, to paraphrase The Princess Bride, people keep using that word, but it does not mean what they think it means. A theocracy is a form of government in which God or a deity is recognized as the supreme civil ruler, and his laws are interpreted by the ecclesiastical authorities. A theocracy was the last thing that the Manhattan Declaration authors, Chuck Colson, Robert George, and Timothy George, had in mind. As Chuck Colson wrote, the Manhattan Declaration was a clarion call to conscience, a wake-up call to the church. Then, and even more so now, Christians were in no position to impose their views on anyone. In fact, we've barely been able to impose them on ourselves, which was why the Manhattan Declaration was created in the first place. Now, in the 10 years since the Declaration was issued, progressives have labeled any assertion of conscience, any refusal to conform one's conduct to the prevailing cultural orthodoxy, as an attempt at theocracy. Cue those protesters dressed as handmaids. The issues raised by the Manhattan Declaration, life, marriage, and religious liberty, are more important now than ever. Even more important, however, is that we're able to articulate and explain why these issues are so important and non-negotiable for Christians in the first place, and why the authors and 500,000 signers of the Manhattan Declaration solemnly declare that, quote, we will fully and ungrudgingly render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but under no circumstances can we render to Caesar what belongs to God. Now, that's why in this 10th anniversary year of the Manhattan Declaration, I was pleased to work with the brilliant Dr. David Dockery on a new book, Life, Marriage, and Religious Liberty, What Belongs to God, What Belongs to Caesar. We assembled a stunning group of contributors, including both Dr. Georges, Johnny Erickson Tada, Randy Alcorn, Ryan Anderson, Frederica Matthews Green, Mike Ferris, Kristen Wagoner, Mary Eberstadt, and more. The book's available at breakpoint.org with your next donation to Breakpoint and the Colson Center. I hope you'll get a copy for yourself, one for your small group, and others. Again, that's breakpoint.org. Look, Christians don't want a theocracy. We simply want the freedom to live out our faith in the way that's proven to be good for the world. But make no mistake, what opponents of religious liberty want is nothing less than secular tyranny. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.